In our course, hopefully you've seen the video by one of my colleagues in the R212 classes, and she gives a description of how you go through the Bible. The Old Testament, the New Testament, the Hebrew Scriptures, the Christian Scriptures, various books, etc. I'd like to go over specifically the structure of the New Testament. The Bible. Biblia is the word in Latin, and it's plural, and it means literally books. And so the book of the Bible that you have for class is broken up into various books. Hebrew Scriptures, Old Testament Torah, same as the New Testament. So the structure of the New Testament is this: gospel. Now the word gospel comes from an Old English word, good spella, which means good story or news. So the Gospels, there's 4 of them, are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are broken down further into what's called the synoptics, and then John. Our textbook, Erdman, will explain more about this when we get to that particular chapter. Synoptics, see the same. See the same thing. You go to an optometrist or an ophthalmologist or an optician to get glasses for your optic nerves. So optic and together, synoptics, seeing the same vision. Sight or vision. And it's because Matthew, Mark, and Luke all present the story of Jesus in a very similar way. Chronologically, it's just a history. And Jesus was conceived, and Jesus was born, and Jesus became an older child, age 12 or thereabouts. Jesus got baptized, Jesus did this, did that, did the other. So it's all chronologically. So Matthew, Mark, and Luke present Jesus, the story of Jesus, the history of Jesus, in much the same way, although you'll see there's nuances and differences in each of those particular presentations. John, however, presents things in a very different way. He does present a chronology. But John, written probably around 100 of the Common Era, has time to think about the past 70 years when he, as one of Jesus' disciples, was present with Jesus during this last 3-year period of Jesus' life. And here he is, 70 years later, time to think about it, to ruminate about it, to consider it, to meditate upon it. And John presents a chronology, but he goes deeper in his presentation. He looks at the significance, the connections. He gives sort of a much more profound take on the various events in Jesus' life. So John is not synoptic in as much as he doesn't present the exact same sort of story that Matthew, Mark, and Luke do. He does have much of their information, much of their material, but he presents it and he says, okay, Jesus got baptized. What does that mean? Jesus did a particular miracle. How does that connect? What does that mean? What does that mean with the Old Testament, the New Testament, and then our life over the next 70 years? And in the future, of course, that significance. Jesus' resurrection. What does that mean? So John gives a total different take on the presentation of the events in Jesus' life. All right, so that's the Gospels. Next is Acts of the Apostles. And that's simply a history of picking up from that point on the next 10, 15, 20 years. It's a history book of the community of Christians after Jesus' resurrection. Next we get letters. And there's a number of letters. Now, sometimes they're called the epistles. That's the old-fashioned way to say letter. And letters are written by various people. Paul, John, James, various individuals in the overall story of Jesus and his life. And these letters are sent to various communities throughout the Roman Christian world. And finally, the book of Revelation, or the Apocalypse. Apocalypsis. It's a Greek word. There's a lot of Greek in this class, this semester, this term, because this was all written in Greek. Apocalypsis, to unveil, to uncover, to reveal. And so the particular revelations or the visions that were seen by the author, we assume it's John, because he identifies himself as John, it's revealing certain things as they happen. So the four Gospels, Acts of the Apostles, the letters, and the book of Revelation, that all makes up the structure of the New Testament.